In relationships, actions often speak louder than words. While grand gestures and dramatic declarations of love are easy to notice, true emotional attachment is revealed in the quiet, almost invisible moments. A man who genuinely prioritizes you doesn't always announce it. He shows it subtly, in ways that might go unnoticed by the casual observer but feel profoundly comforting to you. These moments aren't about impressing others or proving loyalty. They are about creating a space where you feel safe, valued, and deeply seen. Quiet prioritization is different from attention-seeking behavior. It's not about flooding you with messages or demanding your constant presence. It's about weaving you seamlessly into his life, thinking of you even when it's inconvenient, and making choices that consider your happiness without you asking for it. The man who prioritizes you silently is emotionally intelligent, observant, and patient. He doesn't compete with your needs or try to control them. Instead, he respects your autonomy while making it clear that your well-being is always on his mind. These gestures often manifest in everyday life. He makes time for you even when his schedule is packed, listens without interrupting, checks in without a reason, or adjusts his plan so that you're included. You might notice how he remembers the smallest details about you, your favorite coffee, a story you casually mentioned weeks ago, or even how you react to certain situations. These details aren't trivial to him. They reflect that he is truly paying attention. Emotional support without pressure is another hallmark of his quiet care. He respects your decisions, values your opinion, and stands beside you without trying to influence or control the outcome. When something feels off, he notices immediately, not because he's nosy, but because he's attuned to your emotions. He protects your reputation when you're not present, stays calm during your emotional moments, and consistently chooses your comfort over his own convenience. This kind of prioritization is not loud or dramatic, but its impact is immense. It builds trust, creates emotional safety, and fosters a sense of being cherished without the need for constant verbal affirmation. You start to feel secure in the knowledge that you are truly seen and appreciated, that your presence in his life matters even when you're not demanding attention. Over time, these subtle actions accumulate, creating a quiet but undeniable emotional bond. In this guide, we'll explore 15 silent signs that he prioritizes you quietly, breaking down the small but powerful gestures that reveal his emotional investment. Recognizing these signs allows you to understand the depth of his care, appreciate the nuances of his affection, and feel secure in a relationship built on consistency, respect, and genuine attachment. These are the understated moments that define true emotional closeness, the actions that show love without needing to shout it from the rooftops. 1. He makes time even on his busiest days. When a man is truly prioritizing you quietly, time becomes his most honest language. Busy days don't magically disappear for him. Work is still demanding, stress still exists, responsibilities still pile up, but you are never treated like an inconvenience. He doesn't wait for free time to appear. He creates space for you within his already full life. That might look like a short call between meetings, a message checking if you ate, or adjusting his schedule just enough to see you, even briefly. These moments may seem small on the surface, but emotionally, they carry weight. What matters is consistency. Anyone can make time once when emotions are high. Quiet prioritization shows up when there's no drama, no demand, and no reminder. He reaches out because you're already on his mind. You don't have to compete with his work, friends, or obligations. He naturally weaves you into his routine. This kind of effort is subtle but deeply intentional. More importantly, he never makes you feel guilty for needing him. Even when exhausted, he shows up with presence, not resentment. He understands that emotional connection isn't built only on grand gestures but on repeated, reliable moments. In choosing you during busy days, he's silently saying, "You matter enough for me to pause my world, even briefly, for you." 2. He listens without interrupting. When a man listens without interrupting, he's doing far more than just hearing words. He's giving you emotional space. Many people listen with the intent to respond, fix, or defend, but quiet prioritization looks different. He allows you to finish your thoughts without rushing you, correcting you, or steering the conversation back to himself. This shows respect, patience, and emotional maturity. You'll notice that he doesn't dismiss your feelings or minimize your experiences. Even when he doesn't fully understand, he tries to. His attention isn't divided between his phone, his thoughts, or what he'll say next. He's present. That presence makes you feel safe enough to express yourself honestly, without fear of being judged or cut off. Listening without interrupting also means he remembers what you say. Your concerns don't vanish once the conversation ends. He brings them up later, checks in, or adjusts his behavior based on what he learned about you. This is a quiet form of care that doesn't seek praise. Through this kind of listening, he's prioritizing your inner world. He's showing that your emotions deserve space, not solutions unless you ask for them. In doing so, he builds trust, not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily, through respect. 3. He checks on you without a reason. When he checks on you without a clear reason, it's one of the purest signs of quiet prioritization. There's no problem to solve, no argument to smooth over, no obligation forcing him to reach out. He does it simply because you crossed his mind. A short message, a quick call, or a simple "how are you feeling today?" becomes his way of staying emotionally connected. This kind of checking in isn't about control or reassurance. It's about awareness. He notices your emotional rhythm, when you're stressed, quieter than usual, or just having a long day. Even if you haven't said anything, he senses the shift and reaches out gently, without pressure. What makes this meaningful is the absence of expectation. He doesn't demand long conversations or immediate replies. He just wants you to know you're not alone in that moment. Over time, these small check-ins create emotional security. You feel remembered, held in thought, even during ordinary days. Quiet prioritization often hides in these simple gestures. He's not announcing his care or making a show of it. He's just there, steady, attentive, and emotionally present. And that consistency speaks louder than dramatic words ever could. 4. He adjusts his plans for you. When a man quietly prioritizes you, flexibility becomes a natural part of his behavior. He doesn't see his plans as rigid or untouchable when you're involved. This doesn't mean he abandons his responsibilities or sacrifices everything for you, but it does mean he's willing to adapt. If something important comes up for you, he considers it seriously instead of brushing it aside. He shifts timings, rearranges commitments, or finds a middle ground so you don't feel secondary. What makes this meaningful is how he does it. He doesn't complain, keep score, or remind you of what he gave up. There's no guilt attached. His adjustment feels calm and intentional, not forced. You notice that he thinks ahead, planning in ways that naturally include you rather than fitting you in as an afterthought. Over time, this creates emotional safety. You don't feel like you're disrupting his life by needing him. Instead, you feel integrated into it. Quiet prioritization shows up in these subtle choices, where he considers your comfort and presence before making decisions. It's his way of saying, without words, that your place in his life matters enough to shape how he moves through it. 5. He remembers small details about you. Remembering small details is a powerful sign of emotional investment. When a man truly prioritizes you, he pays attention even when you don't realize it. He remembers how you take your coffee, a story you mentioned once, a song you like, or something that made you nervous weeks ago. These details aren't written down or consciously memorized. They stick because you matter to him. What's important is that these memories resurface naturally. He brings them up in conversation, surprises you with thoughtfulness, or adjusts his behavior based on what he knows about you. This shows that when you speak, he listens with care, not distraction. Your words don't disappear after the moment passes. Small details are often tied to emotions. Remembering them means is paying attention to your inner world, not just your presence. It makes you feel seen in a quiet, grounding way. You don't have to repeat yourself or explain who you are over and over again. This kind of attentiveness builds deep emotional connection. It tells you that you're not just part of his time, you're part of his thoughts. And that's one of the clearest signs of quiet prioritization. 6. He supports your decisions without pressure. When a man supports your decisions without pressure, is showing respect for your autonomy. He doesn't try to control your choices, rush your timeline, or subtly steer you toward what benefits him. Instead, he listens, understands, and stands beside you, even when your decisions are difficult or uncertain. Quiet support looks calm. He offers his perspective if you ask, but he doesn't push. There's no emotional manipulation, guilt, or fear-based advice. He trusts your judgment and believes in your ability to choose what's right for you. That trust is deeply affirming. It makes you feel capable rather than dependent. You'll notice that he encourages your growth, even when it requires patience from him. He doesn't feel threatened by your independence or ambition. Instead, he becomes a steady presence, reminding you that you're supported no matter the outcome. This kind of support creates emotional safety. You feel free to be honest about your fears and hopes because you know he's not trying to mold you. By removing pressure, he's quietly prioritizing your well-being over his need for control. And that kind of respect strengthens connection in a way nothing forced ever could. 7. He notices when something feels off. When a man truly prioritizes you, he becomes emotionally attentive in ways that don't rely on words. He notices the pauses in your voice, the change in your energy, the way your messages grow shorter, or the way your smile doesn't quite reach your eyes. You don't have to announce that something is wrong. He senses it. This awareness comes from emotional closeness, not surveillance. He's tuned into you because he cares. What makes this meaningful is how gently he responds. He doesn't interrogate or pressure you to explain before you're ready. Instead, he checks in softly, creating space rather than demand. He might ask if you're okay, sit closer, or simply stay present without trying to fix everything immediately. That restraint shows emotional maturity. Noticing emotional shifts means he's paying attention even when it's inconvenient. He doesn't ignore discomfort to keep things easy. He acknowledges it because your emotional state matters to him. Over time, this builds trust. You feel less alone in difficult moments, knowing someone sees you even when you're quiet. Quiet prioritization lives in this awareness. It's his way of saying, your inner world matters to me, even when you don't speak it out loud. 8. He protects your name when you're not there. Protecting your name in your absence is one of the strongest signs of genuine respect. When a man prioritizes you quietly, he doesn't allow others to misunderstand, belittle, or speak poorly of you, even when it would be easier to stay silent. He corrects misinformation, sets boundaries, or subtly redirects conversations to defend your character. What's important is that you often never hear about it. He doesn't do it for praise or to look loyal. He does it because it feels right. His respect for you isn't performative. It's consistent whether you're present or not. This shows integrity. By protecting your name, he's protecting your dignity. He understands that how others speak about you can affect how you're treated, and he takes responsibility in the spaces you're not part of. This creates deep emotional security. You know you're safe from betrayal or mockery behind your back. Quiet prioritization shows itself in loyalty when no one is watching. And a man who protects your name is showing that his respect for you isn't situational. It's part of who he is. 9. He puts your comfort before his own. When a man consistently puts your comfort before his own, it reflects care that goes beyond words. He notices when you're uncomfortable, physically or emotionally, and adjusts without being asked. This could mean changing plans, slowing down, giving you space, or creating an environment where you feel at ease. What makes this powerful is that it's never dramatic. He doesn't announce his sacrifice or expect appreciation. He simply acts. Your comfort matters to him, not because you demanded it, but because he genuinely wants you to feel safe and relaxed around him. This behavior also shows emotional generosity. He's willing to be slightly uncomfortable if it means you feel better, not in a self-neglecting way, but in a thoughtful, balanced way. He understands that relationships aren't about convenience, they are about care. Over time, this creates trust and closeness. You feel accepted as you are, without needing to push through discomfort to keep peace. By choosing your comfort, he's quietly saying, your well-being matters to me. 10. He includes you in future conversations. A man who quietly prioritizes you naturally envisions a future that includes you. When he talks about upcoming events, plans, or even casual what-if scenarios, he weaves you into the narrative. This isn't boastful or dramatic, it's subtle. You might notice him saying, "When we go there," or "we could try this," without making it a big announcement. This inclusion signals that he's thinking long-term and values your presence in his life. It demonstrates that your opinions, comfort, and happiness matter when he makes decisions or imagines what's ahead. He doesn't pressure you or assume anything, but he makes space for you in his mental and emotional planning. By involving you in future-oriented conversations, he is prioritizing you emotionally. It's a quiet form of reassurance. You're not temporary, and you're not an afterthought. It shows commitment without words, reflecting that he sees you as part of his journey rather than someone he merely enjoys in the present. 11. He shows up without being asked. One of the clearest signs of quiet prioritization is when he shows up without prompts or reminders. It could be for small moments like dropping by your favorite cafe, picking up something you needed, or just being present when he knows you might need support. This behavior speaks volumes because it's proactive rather than reactive. He doesn't wait for you to call or hint that you need attention. He anticipates it. That level of awareness and effort is rare and indicates a man who is emotionally invested in your well-being. Showing up without being asked also demonstrates consistency. You don't have to chase him or seek validation for his presence. His actions quietly confirm that he values you and your time together. It's a form of emotional reliability that builds trust, comfort, and connection, often stronger than words ever could. 12. He stays calm during your emotional moments. A man who prioritizes you quietly doesn't react with frustration, impatience, or defensiveness when emotions run high. Instead, he remains calm, composed, and present. He understands that emotions are part of being human and that your feelings deserve space rather than correction. This calmness is a sign of emotional intelligence. He listens, holds space, and provides reassurance without needing to fix everything. His presence alone becomes grounding, helping you feel understood and supported. Staying calm also shows that he's not threatened by vulnerability. He respects your emotional state and prioritizes your well-being over his need for control or comfort. This quiet steadiness reinforces trust and safety, making it clear that he values you enough to weather emotional storms patiently. 13. He respects your boundaries consistently. A man who quietly prioritizes you understands that respect is foundational to trust. He doesn't push you into situations where you feel uncomfortable or try to manipulate your decisions. Instead, he honors your physical, emotional, and mental boundaries consistently. This isn't a one-time gesture, it's an ongoing pattern. Respecting boundaries demonstrates that he sees you as an individual, not just someone to fit into his life. He listens when you express limits, and he adjusts his behavior without complaint. You feel safe being yourself around him, knowing your comfort and autonomy are valued. Consistency in this regard is crucial. Occasional respect can feel empty, but steady regard builds emotional security. It signals that he cares enough to integrate your needs into his actions naturally, rather than treating them as obstacles. Quiet prioritization thrives in these small, repeated choices, where respect is lived, not spoken. 14. He values your opinion deeply. When a man values your opinion deeply, it goes beyond mere politeness. He genuinely seeks your thoughts, considers them carefully, and allows them to influence his decisions. Whether it's a trivial choice, like what movie to watch, or a major life decision, your perspective matters to him. This behavior reflects emotional investment. By treating your opinion as significant, he shows that he respects your intelligence, judgment, and individuality. He doesn't dismiss, undermine, or dominate discussions. He listens, weighs your input, and integrates it naturally. Valuing your opinion also signals trust. He believes that your insight can enhance his life and his decisions. Quiet prioritization thrives here because it's subtle, consistent, and grounded in respect rather than obligation. You feel heard, validated, and seen, emotions that deepen connection without dramatic declarations. 15. He chooses consistency over empty promises. A man who quietly prioritizes you shows care through actions rather than words alone. He doesn't make flashy promises he can't keep or say things just to sound committed. Instead, he demonstrates reliability and follow-through consistently. What he says aligns with what he does, and his actions create trust over time. Consistency is powerful because it builds emotional security. You don't have to guess whether he truly cares. His behavior proves it day after day. Even small gestures, checking in, showing up, or remembering details, accumulate into a steady, dependable pattern of care. By choosing consistency over empty promises, he communicates silently but unmistakably. You matter, and I'm here for you. This quiet prioritization is the backbone of lasting emotional attachment, showing depth, integrity, and genuine investment in your well-being.